Hey everybody, welcome to Climb the Ladder for our huge 150th episode presented by Washed Up Network. I'm your co-host Hunter, my equally good-looking twin brother Duncan is right here with me. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in each week. We're stoked to have one of our most loyal listeners and recurring guests on for the entire episode 150 today. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Plus, you can see two of the same face when you head over to YouTube. This episode is brought to you by Rugged Roots, who brings us the best in beard products. Use code LADDER20 at ruggedroots.com for 20% off your purchase. As always, let's climb the ladder. All right, little proverbial slow clap here, episode 150. I feel like that's the probably the biggest deal. I mean, 100 was cool because I feel like 100 of anything is awesome. But 150, we've done almost as many episodes as there are in one as games in one baseball season. So that's a plus. And yeah, as Hunter said, we're bringing Jim on for the episode today. Jim Bossert, you heard him back when he was the assistant coach at University of Wyoming. He's had a full swim career as a collegiate athlete, also as a collegiate swim coach, currently coaching in a couple different capacities right now, CrossFit connoisseur, and father of one child and one dog. He wears a lot of hats, a lot of titles.
Yeah, we're just following Jim's career.
Yeah, well, and now Jim is officially the first CTL Plus subscriber. So if you didn't hear, a few weeks ago we launched CTL Plus, little subscriber only exclusive content platform that you can subscribe to through our website. And so Jim is officially the first Climber Plus, to put it simply. And yeah, Jim, excited to have you on. We'll do what we always do and brush up on sports a little bit. We'll reminisce and see where it goes from here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I feel honored to be the first one. I feel like I made it, like the guy with his hands over his head. It's like, Ma, look, Ma, I made it. Like, I feel like I got there.
Yeah, your t-shirt's on the way.
Yeah.
Yes,
First,
can't wait.
First CTL Plus subscriber.
Love it.
We'll make
Love
sure
it.
that
Can't
it's
wait.
like dry fit and has big arms so that you can wear it to your CrossFit expedition.
Yo, guys, this 80 push-ups a day is doing something for my arms, though. Like the three of us are kind of doing. I know
How
Duncan, you're
about
gonna
it?
come in
Yeah.
after. It's like real. I feel it already. It's only been 10 days and I feel it.
Anybody else got
It's
the
nuts.
shoulder feeling the shoulder a little bit?
A little bit. It's been good though. I'm talking about like big arms on the shirts. Like it's been good. I've only ever been a large shirt in my life, and I feel like I may have to start going up to extra large now if the shirts start getting too tight on the arms.
Oh man. Watch out, here he comes. Hey,
Well,
also throw a black t-shirt in with that. Those are slimming. And I mean,
Why do you think I got this one on right now? The black t-shirt.
yeah.
I went to the gym today and it was a cardio workout, so I had to wear the black shirt.
oh, there you go. Hey, I hope you had white shoes on because those make you look fast.
Yeah. All
I
of the
did.
above.
Full package.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong if you're sizing up in a t-shirt, not because of too much Chick-fil-A, but because of push-up competition. I feel like you're doing something right.
I think you're correct. I would love more Chick-fil-A, but I'm very okay with the push-up thing.
Well, if you do enough push-ups, then you earn your Chick-fil-A.
1000%. There's a lot of people that I go to the gym with that, they're like, yeah, I go to the gym and I don't like to reward myself. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why do you think I go to the gym?
Yeah.
It's like I gotta eat Allie's cooking and eat Charlie's leftovers, and like I gotta feed my sweet tooth addiction, so I gotta work out or I'm gonna be 500 pounds.
I did hear that that's one of the best parts about being a dad is you get like free reign 100% on kids' leftovers.
Yo, it's the best part, but it is also the hardest part because Dino Nuggets have so many calories in them. But
Oh,
when you make four too many, you can't let those Dino Nuggets go to waste. There's only one place for them to go. And then you add on the dad tax, right? Like you guys will
right.
learn this very soon. The dad tax comes into play when you make a food or anything for the little one. you have to make sure it tastes good, right? You got to make sure that their understanding of the US government starts at an early age. You get that
Mhm.
tax going on. It's perfect.
Dunk, you know what I just realized is we're coming in clutch right in time for the first Halloween. So
Yeah,
that's gonna be a good christening of the dad tax.
It's
perfect
perfect.
timing.
Perfect for with birthdays right before Halloween. You guys did that right.
That's true.
This is
Well, and
true.
if we're lucky, I mean, Hunter and I's birthday is October 15th. So we're, Hunter's a little bit ahead of that, and then that would put our child just a tad early, but never know, might get lucky on that one. But yeah, I
For
feel like
anybody who's behind or out of the loop, Duncan and Mandy are expecting about 4 weeks behind us, so that would put them right around, give or take, around our birthday, which would be clutch. Keep the generations going from great grandma, grandma, us.
Yeah.
Got to keep it rolling.
that would be pretty cool. I think a
No
great
pressure.
time to practice dad tax. I mean, I saw a reel on Instagram recently and it said anything can be dad tax, and it sounds like Jim just affirmed that. So
We'll
Anything.
take it.
Literally anything. I've learned that. It's been really cool. Like you gotta test his milk in the morning. Like you gotta make sure it's not too hot, not too cold, right? You just get a little bit of it even if you don't have a lot of it. You gotta make sure those blueberries are good for him. You eat the blueberries. Pancakes. Oh man, you can tax the heck out of pancakes.
Yeah. Yeah, some things it's like different states in the US. Some things are more taxable than others.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have any state income tax in there in Wyoming, but you come out here to California and you just give away 40% of your paycheck right away to that.
Yeah. I bet people in Oregon are just confused as all heck because there's no tax on anything. So they're like, wait, what's going on?
What's a tax?
Yeah. Yeah, kids growing up in Oregon tend to be confused.
Mostly.
Well, I think we should just celebrating episode 150, talk about some updates. We'll get into some sports, but I think one of the biggest updates seems like, well, as everybody heard from Duncan's intro, Jim's up to something new every time he comes on. He has a kid. I guess he was already married the first time he came on here. But I do remember that was part of the first introduction. But latest and greatest CrossFit connoisseur. Tell us a little bit about what's the routine like? How many days a week? I've seen a little bit of competition activity. Fill us in.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with the competition. I did a competition at the beginning of April, that first weekend in April, down in Reedley, California. It was called the Central Valley Throwdown. On Saturday, we did a teams competition in the morning. So it was a team of 4 athletes, 2 males and 2 females. There were 26 teams signed up, maybe 24 competed, which is really awesome. It's really big. I did the same competition last year with two other of the same members of the team, and we had a fourth member on the team that no longer goes to our gym. So we just added another member from the gym to be on our team. But we got sixth overall this year, which was pretty cool. It was like 4 different events throughout the morning and the early afternoon. None of the events are too long or too taxing, but they're really fun. I love the style of the team events. They're really good. And then that night on Saturday night started the individual competition. So I did 2 full days of competition. That night was a triathlon, and that's really the reason I did the individual competition because there's a swim portion of it. Um, there's a bet going on at the gym. At the gym I go to, there's a bunch of guys and a bunch of it's a really tight knit family feel community, which is one of the reasons that I love CrossFit. Is the community of the gym you go to. You all suffer together. You do the same workout every day. That's one of the great things about CrossFit, in my opinion. And so we had this little bet going on that I had to do this triathlon, which means I had to do the individual competition um, for this CrossFit specific competition, and I had to get in the water and train. And the bet was that I had to win the swim and then win the overall time of the whole triathlon over everybody in the whole field. or like there was like a bet on a sandwich at one point. It got to the point where I was gonna get kicked out of group chats. Like I'm in like 5 different or 6 different group chats with these guys at the gym. So like just with different things going on. Like there's a kids one, just a guys one, some on Instagram, there's just it's nuts. And so we finally got down to, it was just like a sandwich. We bet like lunch. It was me and another guy bet like lunch. So I got it done. It was really fun. I won the swim portion much faster than I thought I was going to, and I won the overall, which was pretty cool. Um, so that was really exciting. But then the next day we did four more events on Sunday morning, into the early afternoon. So it was 8 or 9 events over the whole weekend. So basically 9 workouts in less than 29 hours, and that was a little taxing. It was a lot on the body, but it was so much fun. It's fun to be able to use the body God gave me, even into my 30s, to be able to do some really cool things and move barbells around and just compete still. I mean, I'm an athlete at heart still. I don't consider myself a CrossFit athlete because those people are nuts. But I do consider myself still an athlete, and so it's fun to compete still, in whatever capacity I can. So, um, the daily routine, I go about 5 to 6 days a week if I can. Classes are an hour long, which is really fun. Everyone does the same thing. You warm up together. There's normally a strength portion. So like this morning was 1 rep heavy single, 1 rep of a front squat. So that was really fun. And then we did a little bit of cardio at the end, which is a workout that ranged from like 11 minutes for some people all the way up to 20 minutes for other people, just based upon your ability. So everyone literally did the same workout today, from people that are my age. Like there's a lady front squatting next to me who is 65 and a half years old. Like she was still
Wow.
moving the barbell around. So that was really cool to be able, like you just sit and talk to people and between the sets and things like that. So there's like no one wears headphones. It's not like it's not like a normal gym. So you're able to go and you create these friendships in this community. And you all get to suffer together. I was talking to these two about, we doing this 80 push-up challenge, and I was texting them on Monday like, I can't do any more push-ups today, guys, because I did 80 in a vest this morning.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was crazy. And so but it's fun. I mean, CrossFit's just one form of exercise that I have fallen in love with again. It gives me the competitive side, just like swimming did. And it's a time of day where I can go and just not think for 1 hour. I'm there. I just do what the coach tells me. I just, I can go just kind of like I was as a swimmer, and I really enjoy it. So CrossFit's been something I've really loved diving into. I have my level 1 coaching certification, which is pretty cool. So I've dove in a little bit more to the coaching stuff. I'd love to do it. My schedule just doesn't allow me to do as much coaching at all, really, as that I would like to do for CrossFit, but it'd be fun to get into that realm at some point.
Yeah, I think that that's awesome. And I mean, we've talked before, but just the ability to compete. I mean, we all grew up as athletes in some form, whatever sport it was. I know we all played little baseball at some point, and obviously Jim went on to keep swimming through college and now still lives in that world as a coach. But I think once a competitor, always a competitor. And Hunter's obviously gotten into, I think he's done 2 or 3 now sprint triathlons and a full marathon and multiple halves. And I'm doing my first half this weekend. And I mean, we've all probably done various 5 and 10Ks, but all that said, like we do it because we like to compete. And most of the time, especially on like a fun run, it's because of a charity or a cause or something like that. But like I was telling one of my coworkers the other day, training for this half marathon, like I honestly don't love to run. It's been something that I've grown to like more, but I don't, just I'm not set on fire like Hunter is, go knock out 10 miles today and then go do it in 2 more days. Like that's just not, like on a bike, I'm there all day, but running doesn't give me that same fulfillment. So I was telling a coworker that I kind of need that competitive edge where I know on Saturday it'll be a little bit different than if I'm just running, on the sidewalk by myself. If I actually have people to try to pass or try to not get passed by, that'll be more that athletic competitive side where, we're all driven and motivated by those things that we always have been. It's inherent nature for us. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think that, whether it's CrossFit or biking or running or swimming or anything, we always want to compete and we always want to be able to, see how we stack up against others.
Yeah. I think we got to build Duncan's 48-hour carb load menu, because that starts tomorrow.
Don't carb load. That's the biggest thing. Don't carb load. Just eat normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is funny because I think I've realized that more. It's like, oh, this big thing. And the last two times I had been gone. I was in Boise for a week. I came back, landed Friday night, and I was like, you know what sounds good? Little Caesars, $5, like get me a pepperoni, and I ate half of it. And like that was a pretty normal
Perfect.
amount. Like 4 slices, they're pretty reasonable.
Mhm.
And I don't know why in my head, I mean, a big part of it's the distance, a big part of it, as you guys know, is the mental confidence. And so like my big thing is if there's no time constraints on a training run, then I can just go. And so I PR'd on a training run, not even trying, just like trying to get the mileage in. And I was like, well, Friday night I had 4 pieces of pizza. I'm gonna do it again before race day the next week. And so same thing, Little Caesars Friday night before the race. I ate half the pizza, and then my race pace was a minute faster than my training pace. And I don't know where that came from.
Little Caesars.
And so
It's the way
yeah,
to go.
that's the recipe, because before my first half ever, which doing a little bit of reflecting, like realizing maybe don't go as hard. I remember going to Olive Garden and just annihilating whatever I could. I got the tour of Italy, which is like 3 dishes, and then I ate breadsticks.
Yeah.
And then you think just like, oh, roll out of there, like run it off tomorrow. And I mean, I probably lost most of it on the run, but I didn't need to gain all of it.
Yeah, that's one of the misconceptions about fueling yourself. I think that was just something that we learned in school, or that was a fad when we were kids. It was like, hey, make sure you carb load because energy comes from carbs, and which is true. That's not false information, but you don't need to overdo it. You gotta make sure you're just fueling yourself properly the day before or 2 days before, and you'll be pretty good to go. The problem with carbo loading is people just think pasta, and pasta takes you so long to digest that it just sits in your stomach,
Yeah.
like for like a day. Like you can just sit there, which is kind of disgusting, but also it
Yeah.
just doesn't digest very fast because of the dense material of pasta. And so yeah, I remember when I was a kid, it was like, all right, make sure you eat your pasta before your swim meet. And I was like, get to college, do my nutrition classes, like that's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just eat normal.
Bad
Like, and
idea.
honestly, Little Caesars pizza is a perfect, perfect pre-race meal. Like I can't tell you how many times I would like my college professor would be like, what's really good before a day of competition or like a training for people? Cheese, which is dairy, right? A little bit of meat with protein, and then a little bit of carbs. There's pizza right there. Literally just eat
Mhm.
pizza. You're
Money.
good to go.
I
Your
mean, I
money.
feel
And
like
you got
pizza fits for all occasions. It's race prep, it's birthday parties, it's
race
backyard,
recovery.
yeah, race recovery. Yeah, I mean pizza the night before, pizza for lunch after. That's also something I've been thinking about, and it's good that you guys are kind of confirming, what I read on Sunday and Monday as I was prepping for this week leading up to it. But yeah, everybody goes, hard bulk on pasta, and I imagine a little bit of pasta is okay, but you don't have to like eat 4 times the amount that you normally would. And like the race, we have to be on the shuttle at like 6:30 in the morning, and race like gun goes off at 7. So it's not like you're gonna eat at 7 p.m. and then wake up at 5:30 a.m. and everything's been digested and you're ready to go. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna need, like you said, Jim, that good balance of the energy, but more so the fuel coming from the right intake, starting tomorrow, really. But I've been trying to drink a lot of water all week and just like overly drink water just so I can prep that. And it'll get hot and I'll be sweating. So trying to make sure I get the electrolytes prepped and stuff too ahead of time will be good.
that was something I did not do well before my CrossFit competition. Was I did not prep myself to be hydrated during the whole week.
Mm.
Um, Leading up to it, I had some. It was gotten warmer. Like we had a really cold spell of winter here in California, which was so strange for the Central Valley. And rainy, and I didn't drink as much water as I normally do, and then like the week leading up, it just like started to get a little hot, and by hot it was in the 50s, and then it got up into the 70s. So that's a big change, and
Yeah.
like for your body to regulate too. And so I was just not prepared physically. Um, that kind of took me out of it. That hampered my recovery a lot in between events. Was I just like I had to chug water because I just needed I couldn't eat. I ate rice cakes
Oh,
and protein bars, and that was it. That's what I ate for 4 days, for like
wow.
those 2 days, and then like a day and a half after. That was all I could manage. And like my bowel system was totally destroyed after it.
Yeah,
For
that's
like a week,
crazy.
it was crazy. It was nuts.
Well,
Wow. Dunk, one thing on the hydration, I know that you guys get the body armor multi-pack from Costco. Body armor's money. I did
Fun.
quite a bit of research of like, and I don't have any sort of like nutrition class like gym or anything, so you can call me on it. But from what I from what I read and how I feel, and I tested a few different things, body armor, and then you mix in a light one every once in a while. So good.
Body armor's great. If Mike Trout puts his name on it, I trust it.
yeah,
Like, and also like if sometimes I'm at the store and I just feel like I need a drink, body armor's my
Oh
go-to
yeah,
every time. Every
100%.
time. It's just so like it tastes good. There's not that many calories really, even in like the high calorie ones, but like the amount of electrolytes, the amount of good thing, like the amount of vitamins you get without having a lot of sodium, that's
Yeah,
amazing. Because that's the thing that happens with a lot of those hydration drinks is it's just sodium, and
Mhm.
that
yeah,
is good and bad because your body does need the sodium. But you're dead on, Hunter. Body armor is like one of the best.
Yeah, I love that, and I think, I mean, one, the fact that they taste good is so big because so like when coconut water kind of hit the market, it was like, well, this it kind of tastes crappy. Like there's no flavor. It tastes like dirty water. It's kind of cloudy, but they figured out how to infuse it. Basically, like took the best parts of Gatorade and liquid IV and vitamins and put it into this great tasting drink. And yeah,
Mhm.
we usually get the light one so that it's not packed with sugar so that you don't have kind of that sugar crash, but just the right amount of everything. Yeah, I think, I mean, you can't go wrong with body armor. If anybody's listening and wants to give us a sponsorship, we're open to it.
yeah.
I was gonna say Little Caesars and body armor. We're getting the good ones here.
I mean,
Yeah.
talking about nutrition class, like classes in session, I do have to say, um, I spent like a couple, probably the week before my last race, or maybe it was one of my triathlons. I spent like a half hour in the drink aisle at like Albertsons or whatever, and this one says like super hydration, like get this here, and you look at like I was looking at like the sodium, magnesium, potassium, and comparing numbers, and like I don't know, say it was like 70 grams of magnesium. You're like, cool, thumbs up. And then body armor's like 800, and you're like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know, reading labels like Dunk. I know you were just saying that, but that's huge. Like when you're tracking stuff and you know what you're putting in, and like you're gonna get a better result out of it in the end.
Yeah, it really is amazing what our bodies can do, and even more so, like any of us could probably get up and go run a 5K, like no training, couch to 5K tomorrow. But the fact that we can train for something and train for so many different things, over the course of our lives or in certain phases of our lives, but then even optimizing that by nutrition, and obviously sleep goes into it and stress levels and all of that, but it's kind of crazy what we can do and what we have done, even as a teenager, what you're able to accomplish, and people get college scholarships and all of that. One thing I was thinking of, it would be interesting to hear, what would each of you say is one of the hardest like physical challenges or exertions or anything like that that you've had to do, whether it's in real competition or a hobby or something like that?
I mean, Jim should probably go first and set the
I don't know
bar.
about that. I don't know about that. Um, I gotta say, one of the hardest ones I've ever done was hike a 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado. It was painful. It was the highest one in Colorado, Mount Elbert. Yep, Mount Elbert. It's like 14,600 feet above sea level is the top, or something like that. And you start super early in the morning. I think we started at like 4:30 a.m. It's in the summer, so like the sun was kind of coming up at that point, but you're hiking with flashlights and a headlamp, that kind of thing. And we got to the summit at 11:30, and you hike
Wow.
back down and you're back by 5. It's like an all day thing. It was
Wow.
like it was like it's not even the longest trail up, but it was just so steep and hard. You're above tree line for good with no shade. Like you're above tree line with no shade for a good 8 hours, up and back. Like you're
Wow.
only at the summit for like 12 minutes, 15 minutes
Yeah.
maybe, just to like sit down, drink, that kind of thing. So that was one of the most physically demanding things I've ever done. Um, I was in high school. It was really cool. I did it with my dad and my brother and a good friend from the swim team and his dad. So like that was really cool. You do it as a group of people, but that was definitely one of the most demanding things I've ever done. Um, so
Wow. No doubt. I mean, I would say probably just, well, probably a big part of it because of like the amount of preparedness or maybe lack of that I was uh before my marathon. I don't know why I decided that the best time would be 2 weeks after our wedding and 1 week after our honeymoon. But uh I think that I was able to use a little bit more of an excuse that it was the hottest day in Western Washington ever. It was 110 degrees.
Dang.
So, I mean, I think like seeing other people, like I knew that I was going to push myself as far as I could go, whether that was 2 miles or 22. And like if I hit 25 and that was all I had left, like I was going to leave it out there. And I did finish, which was really cool, but I think purely the element, like that was something that, like, yeah, there was guys setting records, like they were PRing. It was a Boston Marathon qualifier. Like those guys were flying, like sub 6 minute miles for a marathon in 110 degrees. Like absolutely insane. And like at that point, like you're fighting elements and you're fighting your body shutting down because your body tells yourself, they say usually around mile 18 that you shouldn't go any further. And it's like, I don't know, like the mindset's there. And I feel like I had to battle the elements more than like, hey, I know, like, I'm pretty confident that I can do it. And there was a stretch from mile 5 to mile 18. So half the race that was remote. There was no access points. And so they had like UTVs, like razors and ATVs and stuff, like patrolling the course, making sure everybody was okay. It was like some in the shade, but there were some big exposed parts in the sun. And I will never forget this one guy sitting backwards on a quad being driven off the race course, and his eyes were just completely in the back of his head. And like that was scary, but like that's a lack of preparedness. And those, like, that's a toll on people. But then also just on kind of a smaller scale, but still a factor, there was these guys chafing so bad that I almost hurt for them.
Oh
And
man.
like you think going into something like that, like I want to fuel good, I want to like hydrate, I want to make sure I have all the right gear, my shoes are good, but like talk about an underestimated
yeah,
thing. Like you're gonna have a lot of friction for 26 miles. And those guys didn't finish the race. And so just seeing like fallen soldiers along the way made you like, okay, like, wow, I got something to fight for. But yeah, I think just like I remember the last 3 miles, but like the last 2 miles specifically, because I was like, the end of the race is a 5K. Like it's just 3 miles. Like how bad can that be? And I remember when I hit 24, I was like, okay, where's the finish line?
Yeah.
And I had like walked each aid station, and then I gave myself like a quarter mile of like, okay, I need to get going again, and then I'm gonna run. And for the last 2 miles, I didn't take a walking break because like probably 20 to 24 was like a little bit of on and off. And I wasn't trying to break any records, but the last two, I was like, do not stop running. And that was probably the like most physically demanding, like the most exertion. And will I do another full? Maybe, but like the elements there just take it off the charts.
Yeah.
I just want the record to show that even though I do work out a lot, I will never run a marathon, and I have no plans to run a half marathon. What you guys do is amazing, and I will never do it. I just want it to be out there for the world to hear it. Yes, I will do a lot of crazy things. I will do 9 workouts in 24 hours, but I will not run a marathon.
Man,
Very fair.
half
Hey,
halves are a lot more fun. Dunk, you're gonna have a good time this weekend. Those are fun. Like it's a good feeling. Like everybody at the start line, it's like, yeah, I got this. Like not trying to break any records. Like maybe I'll PR for myself and like, hey, see you at the finish line. But like marathon is like, I should not be here.
all business. Yeah.
Yeah. Half
Yeah.
marathon's fun.
I think, I mean, you and I have different definitions of fun, even though we're twins, but I would say, the excitement outweighs the nerves. I would say because I don't love running, and the longest I've run was a couple weeks ago when I did a 10, like it'll be uncharted territory because I'm just not a hobbyist runner. Like if I have the time to do it, I'm gonna go hop on my bike, and I love getting in the foothills here and doing that sort of thing. So I think it'll be a thrill in its own because it's something new. I've never done it. I think like you said, a lot of people will kind of stay like probably by mile 4 or 5, you're gonna probably see the same people for the rest of the race because you're running pretty consistently. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good experience. When I started training, I'll be honest, I was like, well, if I get to the point where I can do a half, like why not just keep training to then do a full? But the last probably like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, this is a pretty good sense of accomplishment as someone who doesn't love to run, never like ran cross country. I mean, I was an offensive lineman for my whole life in football. Like I was a thick little kid, shouldn't probably even be running a half marathon by those standards. So I'm like, I'll take that as a win. Like this will probably be the longest. Like maybe the marathon thing's in the back of my head, but it's never really intrigued me. And after the preparation, knowing that I can get by on a half and knowing that I probably could have done even more prep, I don't think the full will be in my future, but I think the half will be a good sense of accomplishment regardless.
Yeah. I do have to say on your you said that the excitement beats out the nerves. And I would say the only thing that beats out the excitement, because you can carry that, like I kind of break it up in stages of like, okay, 3 miles, okay, 5, like, okay, I'm almost halfway. And then you're like, man, I'm excited to finish. But accomplishment beats excitement, which beats nerves. And like you start, I don't know, maybe it's just me or maybe a lot of people do this, but I'm like what do you think about it? And if you don't have music, I usually don't like to mess with earbuds or whatever, and so I'm just running and people are like, you're insane for
Yeah.
running without music. But like you have to think about something, and I start thinking about my Instagram caption.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm like, it's not what it's all about, but I'm like, if I'm gonna finish, then I'm gonna post, might as well. And I start like having fun with it. And then I'm like, Oh, only a couple more miles.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you could probably write a whole song in your head by the time you're done with the half
Yeah.
marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one I've done, thinking about the hard things question, like I always think about, I don't know if it's the very hardest thing, but I would definitely say one of the things that sticks out in my head is a mountain bike ride. I don't remember what year of college it was, but had just gotten back into mountain biking, and I don't think you were on this one, Hunter, but Riston was. I remember we did the Table Rock ride, and
Oh,
we didn't
I
do the
was not
one
there.
that you can walk. Like if anybody's familiar in Boise, you can do like the actual hiking Table Rock, and it's a fairly moderate hike. Like most people can go and do it, but you do work up a good sweat and there's some steep spots. But we did the technical one, so we basically rode up the backside. And usually in mountain biking, the thrill comes because you work so hard climbing, your legs are killing you, you're out of breath. But then you get this awesome downhill and you get to lean into the turns and you get the thrill of going fast. This was not that ride. And I think that's kind of why it still stays with me like 5 or 6 years later, because it was all technical up and technical for mountain biking. This is in terms of like rock and sand. You're not on a steady climb where you can just keep cranking on the pedals. Like you're one pedal, but then you got to turn and then you got to avoid this rock and then you might fall off because you're not going fast enough up this steep part. And then the way down is exactly the same, except it's like breaks the whole time. And so I remember getting to the top of that one, not knowing what I was in for, which was probably again the lack of prep. But I remember that just fully exhausting me and having nothing left in the tank. And I mean, I had plenty of those workouts playing football and baseball, as many high school athletes can probably relate to, and then it even elevates more once you get to college. But that one specifically, just probably being something that wasn't like a traditional sport, and it just totally kicked my butt. That's that's one I always remember.
Man. Yeah, that's tough. Well, excited for you, cheering you on for this weekend. That's going to be a big achievement, big sense of accomplishment. And yeah, we'll have to follow along with the adventures this summer, more Jim's competitions. And Dunk, maybe you'll get bit by the bug and maybe a couple more this summer. Hey, the way I see it, if you're in shape, don't get out of shape. Like
Yeah.
keep it
I
going.
I will say I won't get bit by the bug because I don't think that bug could bite me, but I'm signed up for a 10K in June, so I definitely have six
Yeah.
miles on the books for June, so that'll be a little motivator. And then right after that race, I just signed up for the Boise Trails Challenge, and it's June 15th to July 15th, so you have 1 month competing with people across Boise to bike or hike, walk, run. So basically bike or foot, as many different trails in the Ridge to Rivers foothill system as you can. So I think that'll be fun because it'll force me to mountain bike more, which I want to, but I can also get out and do a trail run or a hike or something while also finding new trails. So I think I like that a little bit more.
Sounds like you got some summer two-a-days coming.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
Morning and night. Just tell Brian you'll be out for the office for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey, if you don't see me for a long lunch, I'm in the foothills.
I like it. Well, jump over to a little bit of current sports. We have NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs, and we care most about the NHL playoffs because our very own Kraken, in their second year, have moved on to the second round after defying the odds, taking down the Colorado Avalanche, and it's a tight one. It's been a couple good back and forth games with the Dallas Stars. I feel like this one will also go to game 7. We looked pretty good the other night, not so good on Tuesday night. So we'll see how they do on Thursday. But yeah, the NHL playoffs are shaping up. And let me tell you, from a local Washingtonian right now, the hype is real. The Kraken, I know they're getting like a lot of national attention, but it's big time.
Yeah, Jim, I'm not sure being from Colorado, and I know ice is just frozen water, so it might be kind of a stretch, but not sure how much of a hockey fan you are. Not sure if the upset over the Avalanche was upsetting to you or if that was just another drop in the bucket. But yeah, any takes or have you heard anything on what's going on in the hockey world?
I am a Stanley Cup playoff fan because there's something different about playoff hockey than regular
Playoff
season
hockey
hockey
is
that I
different.
can get in. I can get into that. So like if it's on like last year, I watched the Avalanche's run. Like that was really cool because I remember in 2001 when the Avalanche won their first Stanley Cup in Colorado with like Joe Sakic and Patrick Waugh and Roy Baroque. Like it was a big deal. They had like just moved down from Quebec like in 1999 or 1998 or something. So like they had just moved to Colorado. They were, they were built for a run. And when they won, it was just such a big deal. And then last year I got into it when they went on their run in the postseason. And that
Nice.
was really cool, like to watch it. I think I watched every single game from the conference finals into the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was really cool. Like I watched some part of every game. And so I kind of followed along a little bit this year. I did watch the Kraken Avalanche series this year because of the connection that you two have to the Kraken. I was hoping Colorado would win just because I like to see repeat champions. I like to see, champions go further. But the upset is also really cool. Like watching them do something in their second year that's never been done before. You can't get, but that's sports right there. That's the best part. That's one of the best parts about sports. It's unpredictable and it's just amazing that a team like that can do that.
It is pretty cool, and I've definitely seen the hype kind of from afar. I have gotten to turn them on a couple times just to try to stay engaged, but it is cool to see more national media coverage, a lot of photos and videos of the arena and fans, throughout Seattle. So that's been cool to see, and I think it is cool in NHL that you go 7 games every time, where baseball it's like one game here to play and then it's best of 3, then it's best
Yeah.
of 5. So, which I like. I mean, baseball should probably keep that format, but the fact that NBA and NHL are just like best of 7, best of 7, like it is fun because it really does let the best of the best get there because you actually have to win multiple games against the same team.
Mhm.
I feel like on a different note, but kind of along those lines, football misses out. I mean, hockey is freaking physical. I mean, it's not like baseball or basketball where it's like those playoff formats, but it's the same. 7 games, 7 games. Like, I would love to see a football format like that, even if it was best of 3. Um, just more sports. Like, obviously, player safety is the biggest thing, but like, so does everybody just ignore hockey? Like, that
Yeah.
that's like football on skates to a certain amount.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like rugby people that play rugby play like 2 or 3 games, 3 games in a weekend over like 2 days.
Yeah,
How
they
come we
play it
only play
like it's a
one?
lacrosse tournament.
Yeah, why do we only play one football game a week? Like, is football that much more dangerous and that much more taxing on the body than playing a 60-minute hockey game where you're on the ice like for 30 to
Right.
40 seconds every 3 minutes? It's the same thing with football. Like the time frame of action that you get is pretty similar. So why do we play hockey every other day? You have 82 games plus best of 7, and then football comes around and we're like, oh, these players cannot play more than, and then they rest players, and then it's like they can't play more than like X amount of plays, and like I never played football, so I have literally no idea what I'm talking about, but I feel like we could play football more.
I think, I mean, I only played through high school. I would say it would be nice to play football more, especially playing baseball also, where you got familiar with 5 to 6 games a week. You're playing basically 6 days a week with maybe a travel, or rest day in between there, and then Sundays off in high school. But I mean, I feel like you could play football like Monday, Thursday or something, and then have a couple days between. But that might be a conversation for another time. No, I'm down for it though. Yeah, I think Kraken, it's exciting. I don't know where we go from here, but hopefully they can pull it out and make it happen. Hopefully maybe we'll get a run like Jim is saying with the Avalanche that he remembers from '01, and see if the Kraken can do what the Golden Knights did in their inaugural season here in our sophomore season.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, in honor of episode 150, Jim, of course, thank you for being on here. Want to make sure before we depart that we just take a look back. It's been almost 3 years. We'll be at 3 years next month, which is crazy. Nice that also means that COVID is that far behind us too, because that's when we started this crazy thing, during those crazy times. But last 3 years, 150 episodes. You've been on a good majority of them. You're probably the highest, one of, or the highest recurring guest for sure. Even filled in when one of us was absent, which has been awesome. Favorite memory or favorite handful of memories, being a listener, you've listened to either all or a majority of the 150 over the last 3 years, which is awesome. Probably not a lot of people that can say the same. So any highlights, anybody that you got to hear or in conversations you got to be involved in that stand above the rest?
I've listened to every single one.
Well,
Some of them are at a
man,
minute at
my
a time and a
guy.
half. Some of them are a time and a half speed, but I've listened to every single minute, which I love, and it's my favorite podcast to get every week. I love when I get the notification that it's on Apple Podcasts, so I turn it on. I drive a lot in between pools, so I get to listen to a lot of podcasts, which is great. But I stop podcasts in the middle of it if I see that you guys put out one. So I just love listening to it and love your insight. I think the best part about it is that I don't always agree with everybody that comes on and what they say or how they talk about things, but I think that's the best part about what you guys do about it. It's fun to like kind of give my own opinion when I come on. I don't get to do that a lot about sports other than swimming. I don't talk about a whole lot of sports other than swimming. So it's fun when I get to come on and express my opinion about how much I dislike basketball and how much I don't know about football and that kind of thing. I think it's good, and I could still express my opinion about all that stuff, which is fun. I wish I could talk to some of your other guests, like talk to Joey Giglio sometimes about like what he sees in football and like how he does all that. And how he comes up with his thoughts and his line of progression of his thinking and things like that. Because I'm interested in all that too. Like I don't just want to say like, oh, I just think you're wrong, and be like, I'd love to know how he gets to that point. Like, why does he think this? Why does he think that the Seahawks are better with Geno Smith than they were with Russell Wilson? Like how come all of a sudden Geno Smith doesn't get sacked and Russell Wilson got sacked 85 times a year? Um, I think it's interesting to do that. I love that. I love my favorite all time thing. There are two times when I just jumped on Instagram Live during the World Series. One time, I think I was in line at In and Out last year. It was like right when I was in line at In and Out, and I think it was just Hunter that was live on Instagram, and we were
Yeah,
waiting in line. I just jumped on live. That was really fun. Or
that
like
was awesome.
I think it was the fall of 2020 during that World Series. You guys are at home and you just jumped on Instagram Live to chat about the World Series after it, and I just jumped on too. Like that was really fun. Um, so those are a couple of the highlights I love. I love when we talk about beer league softball. Those stories are always fun. They last forever, and you never get tired. Even if it's the same story from week to week to week, they never get old.
That's true. And I think just one thing that I think part of the reason it never gets old, any of those stories, is because everybody can relate to it. And like you could get blown out one week and then you just come and annihilate a team the next. And it's just fun and you can reminisce, and it's just like getting with the guys, or if co-ed the gals too. So that is a fun one to mix in. But man, we love having you on. You're always loyal. You're always ready to be a fill-in if we need last minute, but you bring the content, and we love hearing your views, your opinions. Colorado, you're from there, but then a Red Sox fan, and then like a little bit of California. Like just a great perspective, and I mean, mostly just loyal, and we appreciate your support and always coming on.
I love it. I just had something I wanted. The one segment I can't get behind that you guys do, and this is not a bad thing because I know you guys love it, is the country stuff, the country music stuff. I've never gotten into it, and there's a place for it, and I love that you guys love it. I will never talk down about country music, talk down about how much you guys talk about it because I do listen to it. I just can't get into it. I just can't do it. So you guys do your thing. Like I love listening to your comments on it. And I love listening to how you guys talk about it and how much you love it. Like you have the deep dive segments, like what is it, the deep cuts segments where it's like you find the tracks that aren't always popular. I think that's so cool because I think artists put so much time in to only have one song be recognized. I think that's a misfortune for those artists and it doesn't do them justice. But at the same time, um, I just can't get behind the country guys. I didn't grow up on it. I didn't listen to it when I was like the formative years of your life. I just didn't do it. So
Hey,
I love that you guys do it. I just can't do it.
that's totally fair. I feel like it is, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like we grew up with it and have continued to listen to it. And so I think that's kind of the trifecta, if you will, where it is harder to get into. I know for people that either weren't familiar with it at all, or maybe they, the radio stuff is kind of their extent of it. So the fact that we do the deep dive, I think, is because we've heard so much of it that we're always looking for more. But it is, I say it's kind of like beer. It's like, oh, it's an acquired taste. Like you have to kind of have a lot of it to really enjoy and kind of pursue other flavors. So I totally
Well, then
understand
those
that.
two just go together for me. You can't do the beer, you can't do the country music.
that's that's totally fair. And the fact that you've been able to stick with all the minutes through even some of that just stands the loyalty too.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. I don't get me wrong. It is interesting to listen to your guys' takes on it and how you talk about the music. Because like there are times where I wish I could talk about music like that. Like the music I listen to is more worship music in the car or Charlie songs now because the Snoop Dogg albums for kids are fire, by the way. Um, but like that's what we listen to now. We're like The Greatest Showman or Disney soundtracks. Like that's what we're into right now because of the time of life. And I was into that before. Don't let anyone feel you. I was into all that stuff
Love
before.
that.
But like the way how passionate you guys are about that, you can see the love and the enjoyment and the fulfillment you get from talking about it and conversing about it, but also just like diving into it. And that's what I really like about it. That's the part that I love listening to is just you see your commitment level to learning more about the country music and the artists and how much time and effort they put in. And you guys go to these shows and you get a real life experience. And I love it. I think that is absolutely amazing.
That is cool. Yeah, we appreciate that. I mean, yeah, we do enjoy it, and it's cool that you still listen. And I mean, I feel like more people should do that on, of course, a bigger, broader scale, but just listen to things that they don't think that they would usually fill their content with. But have to hit one more point just in the current times. Back out of the CTL memories. I think NBA fans would be mad if we didn't address the playoffs. And we know that none of the three of us are experts here, but Jim did a little thing to bridge the gap of a knowledge base of some folks like us when, hey, it's prime time, there's NBA playoffs, and we don't know a thing about it. So to keep up with the times, Jim Bossert, NBA Minute.
All right. So I found this guy on Twitter. His name is Jay Bird. His handle is at JKinney, JayKinney. And he did a thread where it was like comparing PGA players, so golf, like PGA golf superstars to NBA players. The obvious one is Tiger, like current NBA players. So I pronounce current NBA players very strongly. The GOAT is Tiger Woods and LeBron James, right? Like he compared those two together, right? Current. Well, that's a different topic for a different day. But then like there's this guy Scotty Scheffler who's at the very top of his game, kind of came on at the end for golf. He's just been very consistent, very sustained, and people kind of overlook him about how good he is all the time. And the guy he compared him to was Novak Djokovic from Denver. Just dominant when he's very on. He's never too bad. He's never like he's always great when he needs to be, but he's never bad. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like that's what he compared him to, right? So I was like, hey, I know his game style now. I literally just had to look at the picture. I was like, I know exactly how this guy plays basketball because I know how this guy plays golf. Like another one was Giannis Antetokounmpo, the guy from Milwaukee, right? Like international freak. The guy named John Rahm from Spain is the golfer. He's just an international freak. Like the guy can do. He's just a freak. My favorite comparison, because I like both of these people, is my favorite golfer is Jordan Spieth. That guy has some magic hands. He just does some things that are not supposed to happen. Steph Curry. Steph Curry does things on a basketball court that should never happen on a basketball court. And
I was
that's the
thinking
one I
that's
see
where
from
you're going.
highlights.
That's a good comparison right there.
Yeah, I was like, that was the one that I could immediately think in my brain. I was like, even before I saw the thread, I was like, yeah, Jordan Spieth and Steph Curry are made from the same thread. The magic comes out when the magic needs to come out in the big times. The most talented people on the court, Kevin Durant, is definitely always the most talented person on the court, and a guy named Rory McIlroy is always the most talented golfer, always, every time. Like
No
the most
doubt.
physically talented golfer on the golf course every time is Roy McIlroy. Um, Another one that I liked that was just a little bit different was Russell Westbrook. We all know the problems that he has and how nobody likes him, nobody wants to play with him. There's this guy on the PGA Tour. He's not on the PGA Tour anymore. He's on that Live Tour. It's called Patrick Reed. Cheats a little bit. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to play with him. He
Nice.
his wife has. We're pretty sure there's this burner golf account on Twitter. We're pretty sure it's his wife because all it does is like bash everybody that he has problems with. So, um, yeah, pretty cool little thread there that I was like, I now know what basketball players are like because I know how all these golfers are like. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, nobody can say CTL is only a baseball podcast. 150 episodes in. I think in this one we've hit baseball, football, now hockey, golf, and basketball. So hopefully if there's any either golf or basketball fans out there, they can compare what we saw in the Masters a couple months ago to what's going on in NBA postseason.
I think we only missed NASCAR and tennis, so that's pretty good.
Soccer. We never got soccer. That's the
Oh.
one that nobody mentions. It's okay.
We'll bring it back when the World Cup comes back.
There we go. That was good. Women's World Cup this summer. Don't forget about them. Women's World Cup this summer.
All right.
Big
Love
time.
that. Well, Jim, thank you again for coming on. Thank you for not only today, but all of the guest appearances, the sub co-hosts, the Instagram live features and appearances. Appreciate all the support. Repping the hat. Hunter's got the hat on now. We're definitely due to get a new hat on your head and make sure that you can break a new one in for the summer. But yeah, appreciate the support, the feedback, the text, especially at the beginning when we were kind of getting the thing off the ground. Just always having something to kind of attach to and some feedback to keep going week to week always helps. And yeah, just appreciate the support and glad that we could have you on here for big episode 150.
Yeah, I feel the honor, guys. Thank you for sticking with me too, like always having me back. I appreciate it, and I love being on. I love talking sports with you guys. Just love hanging out with you guys, even though we are literally in 3 different states right now. It's pretty cool that we're able to do this and just chat, and it's also cool that our wives are letting us do this. So can't let that go to the wayside there either.
Yes, definitely appreciative of the time that we can all duck away and make it happen.
Yeah, pretty cool. Appreciate you, Jim. Appreciate the support, the listening, the especially like, hey, you pump us on social media. Instagram, Twitter, like very active. And that's what it's all about. That's why we do it. It's a lot of fun. And you make us find the even more enjoyment out of it. So
Good. Well, hope you guys
awesome.
keep doing it. Allie and I were talking the other week about just how cool it is that you guys are coming up on like 3 years. Like that's huge. Like doing anything for 3 years is quite an accomplishment. So I'll raise my water glass to you guys, my
Yeah.
water jug to you guys. So congratulations, you guys. It's really cool to get to 150. That's huge, but also coming up on 3 years and to do it every single week. Like that's pretty impressive, guys. So congrats. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks. And hey, from our best fan, from our number one listener, he's just pumped our 3 year mark on the show. So pretty cool. It is cool. It's crazy to think, like, I was like, oh yeah, it's been a couple of years, and then I was like, no wait, like all the memories from early pandemic days are popping up, and I'm like, no, that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. Yeah. Really appreciate you, man. Couldn't do it without you and the support and the feedback. And here's to many, many more. All right. Let's see. Man, thanks, Jim. That was awesome. Just having you on. Can't think of somebody better to have to celebrate episode 150 with. Loyal listener, listens to every minute of every episode for nearly the last 3 years. So super cool to have him on and can talk about pretty much any sport, pretty much any time, and is always game as long as he's available to hop on. So yeah, really appreciate your time, man, and hopefully everybody enjoyed just kind of hearing a little roundtable discussion for episode 150. Big one to celebrate, and eyes going forward on what's to come. And excited for episode 150 to introduce new partner, introducing Web Western. We talked in the interview with Jim about our love for country music. This is a great country kind of Western apparel company. So head over to Web Western. That's Web with two B's, WEBB Western.com. They've got a ton of like normal hats. They've got some cool shirts. You can even pay a few bucks extra and get your hat branded with their cool W logo. They just released some new like antler W logos as well. So if you use code CTL podcast, that's CTL for Climb the Ladder podcast, you can get 10% off when you go to checkout. So $30 hat, get a few bucks off, and maybe grab some stickers or beanie or something along the way to add in there. So yeah, excited to promote that and get our hands on some new gear.
Yeah, it's awesome to introduce them for episode 150. And thanks to all of our other sponsors along the way, our other listeners. We can't do this thing without you guys. We're just having fun doing it, and we hope that you're having fun listening. So thanks to all the climbers for your support, and thanks for giving Duncan and I a reason to do this every week.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it if nobody was listening. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and the reviews, the text, the Instagram comments, the Twitter interaction. It all helps us just keep trying to be creative and go week to week and keep pushing out an episode. So yeah, thanks for episode 150, Hunter. It's been fun and excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah, crazy to think all of our guests. I mean, we don't even have a tally, but we should count. Yeah, it'd be a lot, and all those guests have helped make CTL what it is and formed into what it is today and what you guys hear every week. So yeah, again, couldn't do it without you. Dunk, mostly couldn't do it without you. You make it happen. You do if anybody sees the YouTube graphics or the Instagram stuff, Duncan is the master behind the graphics. It's all in-house, and just happy to be in it with you.
Yeah, it's been fun, learned a lot, and yeah, we'll keep going as long as it makes sense. So cool to tip our cap to 150.
That's right. Well, to sign off 150, as always,
Climb the ladder.
Ladder.